Welcome to our Inkscape tutorial. I'm going to get you started on some very basic tools in Inkscape, and we're going to start to draw a Goomba, which is the character that we used in our Mario Scratch video game. So if you want to use a Goomba too, this is a great video to follow along with so that you have that down. Alright, so here I am in Inkscape. I've got my Goomba step-by-step drawing open already. And the first thing I'll teach you is how to zoom in and move my camera so that I can just isolate on this blocky version of Goomba, which is what we're going to focus on today. So if I want to move side to side, I'm going to hold the space bar, and now if I move my mouse, I can move side to side. So I'm going to put him kind of off to the corner. Now if I hit Control and I scroll in, I can scroll and zoom into my Goomba character. So you'll notice that I have a blocked out version of my Goomba, kind of like the Minecraft version of him. He's nice and pointy, and that's where I start when I draw in anything in Inkscape. So I'm going to use my first tool, and it's called the Bezier tool. And it's right here. And what this does is it sets down little points, and then it attaches kind of a string to them, and these become our lines later on, so the outline of your drawing. I'm going to start with kind of a triangle shape, which is sort of what my Goomba looks like, with a couple extra points to make his cheeks a little bit rounder. When I get to the end of a drawing, you'll notice if I go back to the very first point I laid out and I hover over it, it turns red. That means you're closing your shape, which is really good practice for when we're creating characters that have full outlines. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. You'll see why it's important later on when we get to coloring. So right away I see my shape's a little bit off. I'm not too concerned about it because I have this other tool that I can use called the node editor. So over here, I've got my node editing tool. And if I click on it, all my little dots that I just made pop up, and now I can actually move them around and make them a little bit more in line with what I was hoping to make. There we go. So now I've got my head shape all sorted out. And the next two things that I want to make my body, so the torso shape, and I want to make 2 feet. So my torso shape's kind of a rectangle with a little extra nub in there, and then my feet are just regular rectangles. So back in my Bezier tool, I'll start to lay out those points. Something I want to point out is if I want my feet to be exactly the same, I can actually just work on one shape being really nice and looking the way that I want, and then I can copy and paste it. So I'll show you how to do that. I need my selection tool, which is up here at the top. And now you'll notice I can move my shape around and place it where I like it. I'm actually just going to get rid of this foot. With my selection tool, I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. And then this foot, which I've decided is the best foot that I've drawn, I can either Control C and Control V to copy and paste it, and then the duplicate pops up. Or if I wanted, I could hit Control D for duplicate. And duplicate looks like it didn't work, but if you move your shape, you'll notice that there is an exact copy just sitting right on top of that first original drawing that you did. So if you're using Control D, make sure you move your object right away to see if it worked. Now that I've got my copied foot, I'll just line it up where I kind of want it to be. And then up here, I've got a flip horizontal tool that I can click. And then I'll line up my foot as I like it. So there's my laid out Goomba head and body and feet. Last thing I wanted to share with you is if I've got my selection tool on and I click on any shape, I can either use the move, I can scale it, or make it longer, fatter, thinner, whatever it is. And if I click again, I can start to rotate it now. And this is a super helpful tool, so keep it in mind. I'm going to stop there today. Next video, we're going to continue with some details for our Goomba, including the face, and then we'll work on some color later on down the line. So make sure you stay with us. There's lots of cool things to come. See ya!